Seattle's Morning News, Dave Ross with Colleen O'Brien. We're joined by Alison Morrow from King 5. She covered the story of this group of, quote, Satanists who say they don't worship the devil. In fact, she talked with the woman who's founding this local branch.
We don't believe in any supernatural beings, God or Satan.
So the question is, what are they all about? And Alison joins us now. They had an inaugural meeting last night, which they asked you not to attend.
Said yesterday afternoon, yes, they asked for some privacy because, as you can imagine, they aren't always the most popular people where they go. So we did not attend out of their respect for their privacy, but they did say they had about 20 people there, and 13 of them signed a membership agreement. So I brought exactly what that means you signed up for, that you will act out of compassion and empathy. Number 2, justice over laws, which I think is interesting. Your body is subject to your own will. You will respect others' freedoms. You will conform your beliefs to science. You will rectify any mistakes you make. And you will act out of a spirit of compassion, wisdom, and justice, which should always prevail over the written word.
So there is a moral code. Now this Satanic Temple, this is different from the Church of Satan. This is the Lucian Greaves group, which put up the statue, I think, in Oklahoma, where you can sit on Satan's lap.
Exactly.
And they also circulated the comic book in Florida.
Sure.
Because the Christians were allowed to circulate their comic book. As I understand it, they're basically atheists who don't really worship Satan.
Right. There are many, many different kinds of Satanists out there, and they're sort of divided into theistic and atheistic Satanists. These are the atheistic Satanists, and yes, they are different from the Church of Satan, which was developed around the 1960s. This is a newer movement, and they're rather close to a humanist, but they would tell you that they more associate as sort of the rebel and outcast of society, which is why they like to use Satan as their symbol, as kind of the fallen angel or the one who rebelled against what they call arbitrary authority. They like to be sort of the miscreant atheist. They don't really feel like a mainstream religious follower, though they want to have the status of a mainstream religious believer, and they're really working hard right now to be seen in the government's eyes as a religious movement.
How can they be protected under freedom of religion or as a religious movement when they don't believe in any actual being? I guess they don't believe in Satan. They don't believe in anything. So how are they protected under religion?
Well, they would say that religion is a deeply held belief, that your religion and your religion is just something that is fundamental to who you are as a human being. And who should decide the reality of what the being is that you go out to worship every day is the non-being that they go out to worship every day as a deeply held belief as yours is, and who gets to determine from the government standpoint, if we're a country founded on religious freedom, whose being is greater than another's, or non-being, I guess, is greater than another's.
And I understand that the forming member of this group, Lilith Starr, was the name she gave herself. She started being a Satanist because she was overcoming addiction and didn't like the God talk in the AA meetings.
Exactly. She said she felt like she was constantly trying to find something outside of herself to bring her to sobriety, and that it was finding something within herself that got her there. She also has told me that as a child, which I thought was quite interesting, that she was called a pariah, somebody who didn't fit in. And so when she found a group that felt like not fitting in was the raison d'etre, that they would continue on with this sense that they didn't necessarily belong in what everybody else may feel comfortable in circles in society, then they decided to band together. The research that I've done has shown there's really only maybe 50 to 100,000 of them in the world right now, so they're sort of a smaller subculture. But they like that. I think that if they were to grow too big, it might almost discount their entire existence. Sure.
So what is their ultimate goal in setting up these chapters around the country?
Well, they want to push for a lot of justice issues that they have determined to be justice issues. And that's sort of the interesting thing here, is that they say that reason and science will lead you to the ultimate salvation of humankind. There's question as to whose reason. When you're a group of people that gets together and says that reason is the foundation for your being together, there may be differences in opinion about what reason leads you to. They might say that science is ultimately what should be respected. They've picked a couple of different justice movements, which they said yesterday they had sort of decided they were going to participate in. I asked which ones they were. They said they're going to wait to release exactly what they're going to be moving on here in the Seattle area until they have that a little bit more solidified. But that's mainly the point, I think, is to get together to talk about reason and science, and then that as it relates to social justice movements and the predetermined social justice movements they want to participate in, and then how they're going to act to change the Seattle landscape based on those movements.
Could they buy up a lot of property and take it off the tax rolls as a church?
That's what they're hoping for, certainly. Yes, to certainly have that tax break.
Any protesters outside their meeting?
They said no protesters, so far, but that's why they're also kind of keeping their locations as they move forward after this, potentially secretive, to keep their safety as a concern.
Alison Morrow from King 5, who, by the way, has a divinity degree from Boston University. Good. Is that the Jesuit school?
No, Methodist.
That's the Methodist school. Boston College is the Jesuit school?
Yep.
Got it. Well, they're pretty good. It's 8:23. Real-time traffic is sponsored by Mercedes.